Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a very warm welcome to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott. I'm your host, and I will be your host more or less all the way through this season. Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review as we talk about our first home game of the season against the Arsenal. But before we get to that, please don't forget, you can find us and on all of our old and previous podcasts, wherever you download your particular podcast from. You can or simply go to the redandbluereview.co.uk and you can watch us anywhere you like, okay, on our website, you're on the go, wherever you are. I'm shortly about to be joined by the usual, it is like a criminal mugshot lineup, really, isn't it? Especially with him starting first, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Joel Holyoke. How are you, mate?
Oh, it's me. Yeah, I'm good, mate. You all right?
Yeah, really well, thank you, really well. Fergus Tidd in his act. Yeah, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, Nick.
You have a good evening last night? Enjoy your evening?
Apart from the result, yeah. I mean, great to be back.
It is good to be. It's great to have football back in it. But you know, my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, it's still the cricket season. And last but certainly not least, Ian Noble. How are you, mate?
I am very well, Nick. Good evening to you and good evening, everyone.
The only thing I will say so far, Nige, are we actually broadcasting live? Because it doesn't look to me as though we are.
We are.
Good. We're live. Oh, there you are. I can see some names coming up finally. Mark Callahan, the crazy gang. He's like the crazy gang, isn't it? It is. Some more crazy than the other. Facebook user, good evening, boys. I presume that's you, Andrew Adams, because it normally is, because I don't know why that happens. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you're not aware, Palace will travel to Plymouth for the second round of the Carabao Cup on Tuesday, the 29th of August. Kick-off at 19:45 British Summer Time. Tickets are now on sale for qualified supporters. Coach travel is also available through the club, okay, at £55, okay. And apparently, if you book your train tickets through Tree Hugger, they will plant a tree for every booking made on that. I've never even heard of Tree Hugger before, but there you go. Boys, before we get into the usual stuff for the evening, I do want to send a little message out to one of our team, Lucy Usher. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but Lucy had a loss this week. Okay, she had her cat her and her partner have had for 19 years. His name was Albie. Rest in peace, Albie. He's crossed the Pussycat Rainbow Bridge. So we're sending you lots of love and our thoughts to you both, and I hope things are good. And also, ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to find us on our Instagram page. Tom Clark Samuels already put the this week's preview up for the Brentford game, and you can find us at red_and_blue_review. Go on there, give us a like, follow, share, or whatever it is you do on Instagram. It's well out of my league. I haven't got a clue what it is, but he does work very hard on our behalf. Please get on there and give it a shot. Right, boys. Ferg and Ian, I'm coming to you both first. Joel, you'll be plainly obvious why I'm not talking to you about this, but I'd like to know, guys, first of all, about the atmosphere in the stadium last night. And I would also like to know the stadium enhancements and how you two found it when you got there last night. And indeed, of course, the pyros. Yeah, of course, two very worthwhile tributes last night to Trevor and John. And I thought that was immaculately observed by everybody in the stadium. So well done to each and every. Ian, I'm going to come to you first. Okay, the red and blue fascia, the young, what's his face, has been working so hard for. Tell me, how did it look? Your thoughts?
Yeah, good. Well, first and foremost, the Arthur Waite fascia is fantastic. Really, really good. So it's digital. It changes, obviously, changes throughout the game with adverts. But when I walked into the stadium, it was the old red and blue stripes with the clock in the middle, albeit it's a digital clock, obviously. And it looked excellent, really, really good. It was a throwback to the past, obviously. And there's a new big screen, which is probably an upgrade. It must be an upgrade on what we had before. And then the same advertising that is on the top, on the fascia of the Arthur, goes around the stadium in the White Horse Lane end, and then round the pitch perimeter, all four sides of the ground. So yeah, I think that upgrade was really, really good and impressive. Premier League standard. So well done, Crystal Palace Football Club. It's a thumbs up from me on that one for sure.
Good, because it looked very impressive. I have to say to you, the only thing I would be, Mark Callahan said, was the clock working.
It was, it was smart. It was till the right time.
I wonder if Jason Cadle's pressure that he's put on social media, on Twitter, and he has put a lot of work into it over the years, has actually, go on. Joe,
as far as I'm concerned, it's completely down to you. He's done two things, Jay. He's the one responsible for the scarves, the weighing of the scarves, and he is the one that put loads of pressure, not pressure, but just kept going on about the clock. It's Jay. He did someone put a picture up, or he was sent a picture, maybe by someone at the club, and he just put, "My work is done." I think it is just purely Jason going at the club and saying, "Look, get this done." And if it was solely just Jay, his impression, or being more passionate and wanting a bit of old school back at the club, then really good on him.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. But I think the club took it to another level with what they've done. We were expecting.
Yeah, they're not going to be back. They're not going to get up there with a couple of rollers, are they? And then whack an old pitching clock up there with the wrong time on it.
Yeah,
I want it old school, but
the fact they extended it around the into the White Horse Lane end as well.
Well, it's old school, new school, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah, it just looked amazing, and they can put anything they like up there. They were putting firework displays and stuff on there, and it just looked fantastic.
I want to talk about that firework display in a minute, the pyros pre-game. Please tell me one thing, though, boys. The one thing that I did notice when we first went to the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, okay, and we were all, I think, certainly two of you were there that night, okay, and the one thing that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up when they were putting the words to the songs on their digital screens that go around the stadium. Come on, you Spurs! Come on, you Spurs! And then the Spurs fans would start singing. Please tell me that didn't happen last night.
Nick, that didn't happen last night.
No.
I'll tell you, the other team that does it is that other small team on the South Coast. They do it, don't they? They put the words up on the screen. It's ridiculous.
Falmouth FC.
It's laughable. But you asked about the atmosphere, Nick.
Yeah.
Ferg, I'm sure you'll agree with me. I was in the main stand. You're in the Homestead. You couldn't see the lower Homestead from where you were, Ferg. But I tell you
we couldn't see the pitch.
Yeah,
it's just smoke.
The HF, they were brilliant last night. They were really good. They were on it from the moment one with the pyros and the flags, and the noise was deafening. Really top atmosphere.
And the other thing I noticed that was new last night, I'm just coming to you next, Joe, was that we were doing pyros, not the HF. Crystal Palace Football Club were doing pyros pre-show. How did that look?
Yeah, again, brilliant. That was down the White Horse Lane side, but yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, first time we've seen it at Selhurst, I think. Of course, other clubs do it. Notably, I think Wolves have done it for a few years. But they've done it. They do it slightly further away from the stand because they've got more space. Whereas Arsenal's quite close to the stand. Obviously, they checked it for health and safety, didn't they? But
the commentator on the feed that I was watching said that Eze must have asthma because as soon as our pyros went off, and of course all the smoke was going up and everything else, he ran across to the other side of the pitch. He said, "I reckon Eze's got asthma." Joe, you wanted to make a point?
Yeah, you were saying about the atmosphere and everything. I mean, obviously, I had to watch it on TV, but I can assure you, it didn't sound like you're describing it.
Really?
Maybe for the first minute. Well, you know what Sky do? They don't want. They're not interested in unless Palace have scored. They're not interested in turning the microphones. I could just hear Arsenal fans. That's all you could hear. It was really. It's always poor, isn't it? The sycophants at Sky and the commentary and stuff. And we'll get on to that. But yeah. So for me, as a viewer, I can assure you, it has not come. It did not come across like you guys are explaining, which is really sad.
Yeah. It's interesting because a couple of people in the chat, and notably the two ladies, Joan and Dawn, have both made the same point. That I don't know if you're joking here, but Eze used his inhaler before kickoff. Maybe he has got asthma. I was actually only joking when I said it, but that's very interesting. I didn't realise that. So good evening to everybody else. And somebody's asked you a question, Ian. Ian, it's directly straight to you. Ian, this is from James Convey. Are you a fan of the smoke and the pyrotechnics?
In the right context, yes. But I wouldn't want it the whole game. I mean, I do feel for people that were in the midst of it and maybe they couldn't see the game. Maybe it affected their health. I don't know. So I think on balance, I would probably have to come down and say, do without it. But it does look impressive when it happens. So, I think Paul Bristow said the smoke was horrible for those in the middle of it. So not great. And, I've been in the away end a few times when it's been let off right around us. So I do know what that's like. But I think, the guys that do it, they don't think about other people at all, do they? They just want to no pyro, no party sort of thing,
I'll tell you what I am looking forward to, sorry, Nick, is Palace winning at Selhurst Park and just seeing, how all the screens and all that interact. Because it was certainly fantastic before the game, with us scoring and goal going all around the ground, all the rest of it. And then at the end of the game, maybe winning, and having a little bit more of their own pyrotechnics, away from the fans, so it doesn't affect them.
Yeah, good point, Ferg. Because I said to Paul, who I was sitting next to last night, I said, if we score here, the roof's going to come off this place, because it's a real shame it doesn't come over on the TV because it was really loud at one point in the first half. But crikey, if we score, the place is going to go berserk. We'll see,
Well, sadly, that didn't come to pass. I think what we'll do, if you don't mind, boys, is we're going to kick off with the lineup because there's a couple of bits and pieces I wanted to talk to you. Thank you, Nige. And I don't think there was absolutely anything to discuss on the lineup because that is probably, at the moment, as things stand, with the injuries as they are, our strongest 11 with Johnson in goal, Ward, Anderson, Gehe, Mitchell, Decore, Jefferson, Lerma, Eze, Schlupp, Edouard and Ayew. One notable absentee from there, gentlemen, and we touched on this pre-show, is one Jean-Philippe Mateta. So, Joe, did you actually hear anything pre-game as to why he wasn't in the starting lineup?
Yeah, bad knee apparently. Bad knee, but he bent it, trying to pick his wallet up. We will. No, we're not stupid. It didn't. I think Roy said something as well last game, Sheffield United, about Mateta. But yeah, I think he's probably cooked as well as like Guaita. I think he's probably played his last game, which is a shame really because if he does go, just be typical that we can't say goodbye to him because as much as the money will come in handy and players, sort of average players move on. He has given us a couple of really special, 2 or 3 really special moments. Obviously, the back heel against Brighton and a fantastic finish against Leicester. Although they won't think of that because that probably was the game that sent them down. But yeah, it's a little bit. I'm a little bit sad, that we don't, as our club, we don't get to say goodbye to players.
Young Azza says JP is likely to leave. I know he is in the know. He's not been our worst striker. We've had a lot worse, but I think if he does go for 11, 12 million, I think we'll have done quite well there. But we've got to get someone in to replace him, and I'm sure Nick will come on and talk more about transfer targets later.
We may well do that. In fact, I wanted to. Because Joel's mentioned Guay, we're going to do that one in first. Before we do the match, Ferg, you wanted to make a point?
Well, no, I was just going to say I know they didn't probably play him last night to protect him if he has got a transfer coming up, but we missed him the last 10, 15 minutes last night. And we needed somebody like a Mateta, and I think we might have grabbed that equaliser.
A very good point and well made, mate. I hadn't thought of that. No, that's a very good point. I mean, somebody as a target, because we were getting balls in the box. A target man, he might have been the man. He might have been the one. Very quickly, before I forget.
So it's his fault. I hate him.
What?
I said, so it's his fault. I hate him.
David Hart, your ticket for Brentford.
He's the new Ayew.
Tomorrow, okay, Dave, your ticket will be here tomorrow, and we'll sort out the rest of the details after that. Right, Ian, I wanted to. Joe mentioned Guaita a minute ago, and I think it's worth touching on that because some people might not have seen what's going on today in reference to a potential replacement incoming. Henderson from Man United is still a Man United player, and I don't normally go into the speculation, but even on Sky today, they're reporting that Palace are well in and not advanced talks, but serious talks are taking place. The reason it can't happen at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, because you may not be aware of this, they themselves are looking for a replacement for Dean Henderson. They are looking at 2 or 3 players from abroad. Okay, one of which in particular is the one that they want. Okay, the problem with this guy, I don't know where he's from. Some foreign.
Fenerbahce, I think.
I think it was Fenerbahce. Anyway, whoever it is, he actually is already injured. Okay, the Man United have sent out their medical team to do a pre-medical on this player to make sure that this back spasm he's having isn't something more serious. Once that develops and Man United sign him, then and only then are they prepared to let their number 2 goalkeeper go. And I have to say to you, I think Dean Henderson alongside help me.
Sam Johnston.
Sam, okay, will be really good. Jill, but the only thing I'm a bit concerned about is £100,000 a week, which is what Henderson's earning. Jill.
What?
Yep.
£100,000 a week, and he's like United's number 3.
No, he's number 2.
Well, hardly. So this would be my thing, right? In the chat, and you guys, if we do sign him, is he going to take the place of Sam Johnston? Because let me say, I'll be pissed. I like him. I think he's doing all right. His distribution last night was fantastic, and as it was at Sheffield United, getting the ball out quickly. He doesn't hold it up too much. I would be really disappointed if we get, because for me, he's an unknown. He is an unknown. I mean, who watched Nottingham? Did he play for Forest last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who watched Forest? I mean, they just escaped going down, didn't they?
Yeah, they were decent at home, weren't they, last season, which kept them up. But if he's on £100,000
serious injury, isn't he?
Yeah, but if he is on £100,000 a week, if he is on £100,000 a week, then he's not going to want to come to Palace to be second choice, is he? But I'm with you, Gel. I don't think Sam Johnson has done anything wrong, aside from give away a penalty, maybe, to lose his place. Ferg, I don't know whether you were going to make a similar point.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think he probably wouldn't push Johnson for first spot initially, because I think he's still recovering from a serious thigh injury. But I agree. If we're going to go out and get a keeper, not £100,000 a week. And
well, one thing's for sure.
I mean, we've got Joe Whitworth saved a penalty against Man United under 21s last week. He looked really good. You know, we've got 2 or 3 decent.
Where's the talk gone for our old goalkeeper? He went to Southampton.
Alex McCarthy.
Where's that talk gone? Has that just died a death straight away? Is it? We interested for 3 days and that was it?
Yeah.
About the sum total of it, yeah. Someone's asked in the chat, why did we let Butland go to Rangers? Well, we let Butland go because we had Guaita at the time. And no one knew that Vincente Guaita was going to throw his toys out of his pram. We talked about this on last week's show. And if he hadn't done, if he'd trained and competed, then we wouldn't be having this conversation about a goalkeeper. I don't think a goalkeeper is our most serious position at the moment. You know, we've got other more important things to sort out than that in this window. So if we get Dean Henderson, fine. But you know, I'm not going to lose any sleep if we don't.
I think this week will be a particularly good week for Palace in the transfer business. I think they're going to be and I honestly believe that they're going to be busy this week. Now, before we move on, and I do want to move on, Ian, I want you to do the game. The one thing, point of note, I am delighted from last night was to see Jez Rak-Sakyi get some minutes on the pitch. Now, in my mind, that is Hodgson playing the mind games with his chairman. I don't think Hodgson actually thinks Jez Rak-Sakyi is ready. We may well differ. We may all think he's ready to go. But I actually think he put him on last night to make a point to the board saying, we need some action. We're short on bodies. The bench was particularly light last night. And That's just my personal opinion. Anybody want to add anything to that? Disagree?
Completely, because if he didn't think he was worthy, he wouldn't have brought him on. Like the reason in our first game where Tompkins only got on the pitch because of an injury, and the kids were on the bench then, so he decides to bring him on against Arsenal. I don't think that's a protest. I think that is basically giving him 6, 7, 10 minutes of experience, and I think he done all right.
Oh, he did. No. I don't think he did. Go for.
I was going to say, I actually think it was a change of tactic with Roy, and he actually went for it. He actually thought, well, I'm going to take a risk here, and if we lose 2-0, we lose 2-0.
And Dawn just said exactly the same thing. She just said,
Armada and Rak-Sakyi. I mean, that was the right thing to do.
Well, you have to bring players on. You have to bring attacking minding players on when they bring 4 centre-backs and 3 defensive midfielders. Arsenal park the bus on 59 minutes. Never seen that before. You know what I mean? Park the bus. Can you believe that? They've got
10 players in their own half.
£500 million first team squad, 700 million, whatever. I don't know how much they pay for players. Stupid money. But they park the bus against us. Get out of town.
I know we're going to cover the game. But when you think that they've got Rice for 105 million and Partey for 45 million in midfield, we've got Lerma, cost us nothing, and Doucouré 21 million. And I think they were doing a job on us. Rice was marking Eze, or he was marking Lerma or Doucouré. They had a job to do. They were worried about us. I'd go as far to say as we have just as good midfield as Arsenal do. It's just fine margins. It's
somebody actually said the other day, and again, I love your point. Somebody actually said, I reckon we have probably got the strongest midfield outside the top 6.
That was me. I said that to you the other day.
Was it you?
Yeah.
It might well have been you, actually, but I thought I'd heard it on the radio as well. It's somebody, and I think it's anyway, we've been chatting now for 22 minutes. Let's go to the game.
Yeah.
Ian Noble, listen, I'm delighted. Thank you for your insight into what the stadium looked like last night and the atmosphere, boys. I think it is absolutely fantastic. Great to see the club moving forward. But are we moving forward on the pitch, Ian?
Yeah, I think we are. I mean, I don't want to spend too long on this, but, Arsenal started brighter than us. There were a couple of early exchanges, but, for me, in the opening stages, they started really, really well, Arsenal, and we couldn't get near the ball for a little while. We did break a couple of times. Ayew down the right, half chance that was blocked. Edouard got in the sort of inside left position. He fluffed his lines, and Eze's shot was then saved as a result. Doucouré's shot well wide. Did make me laugh on the commentary. I don't know what they said on Sky Gel, but on the Palace player commentary, extended highlights that I watched, they said, Doucouré's gone close. Flipping heck, he was miles wide, absolutely miles wide of the goal. But at least he had a shot. And what I like about the Doucouré-Lerma sort of joint pivot in the defensive midfield is it gives license for one of them to go forward and one of them to cover, and they can mix it up like that. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that, Lerma and Doucouré having shots on goal, which is what you want to see from your midfield players. Nikita, I think the scariest moment for me in the first half was when Nikita turned Anderson, and he was through on goal, but Anderson
Nketiah, not Nikita. Nikita's Elton John's song.
Nikita, how do you say his name?
Oh, Nikita, you will never.
You know what I mean. They're number 14, right? They're number 14. I don't know what he's called, do I?
We've been chasing all summer.
Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, he hit the post, all right? So he hit the post. And, it was close. So a bit lucky to be 0-0 at that stage, to be honest with you. Ayew then had a break, didn't he? Got away. But Saliba, great challenge, absolute quality defending. But, a better striker just gets in front of him and gets his shot away. Jordan Ayew didn't do that yesterday. They cut us open a couple more times in the first half. Arsenal, Saka had a chance, cutting in again from the left. When he cuts inside, doesn't he, with his left foot, and he scored like that last week. I thought Tyrick Mitchell done okay on him. He's not an easy player to mark. He's one of the best wingers in the Premier League. In the second half, we go in 0-0 at half time, and I think 0-0. I was happy with 0-0 at half time. Ferg, in the ground, would you say the same? Comfortable with
that? Yeah. Yeah, like you said, they bossed it for the first 20 minutes. And then we started to come into the game. But yeah, I mean, 0-0 at half time, you'd take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
definitely.
What did they say on Sky at half time, Joe?
I don't care what they said on Sky at half time. It was that idiot that used to play for him, Alan Smith. So I had to turn it down, otherwise I was going to punch hold of my TV and throw it in the garden. But you were saying you thought he did all right. I can assure you that when he got into the changing rooms, he'd have had difficulty sitting down because Saka was in his pocket. He had Saka and Odegaard trying to double up on him, and he was amazing. I mean, they're just so good. Saka's supposed to be one of the best wingers in the world at the moment. So I keep hearing. And Odegaard is an unbelievable player. And for them to have such limited opportunities and such limited joy down that side, where they're always cutting in and getting shots off, to only have one shot or two shots between the two of them, one was poor, the other one was a TV save from Odegaard. The only two other real chances were in Nketiah when he got through, just one a cute ball from Rice and an equally good ball from Saka. But I thought, I'm not joking, I thought that was probably his best 45 minutes for Palace. He was absolutely fantastic. And again, because it's a Palace player, it was completely overlooked. But that's why they went in at 0-0, because he played so well.
Sure.
And Wardy on the other side as well. You've got to give him credit. I thought
again,
left
on his own. Jordan wasn't doing loads of work down that side when they were attacking. We were getting overrun. And again, Wardy as well. You're absolutely right. I can't remember his name. Begins with M now. And he always plays well against us. Who is it?
Martinelli
always plays. Very, very good player. But again, they're wide players. Didn't have loads of joy against us last night.
No, you're right there. You're right there for certain. Of course, they're going to the second half now. Tyrick Mitchell, he got forward as well a few times. Got crosses into the box. Right at the end, he blazed one over the bar, which if it hit the target, he might have just got that equaliser right at the death. But I thought he had a really good game overall, Joe. So totally agree with you on the first 45. So and then we come to this moment in the 53rd minute when they get their free kick. Now I don't know about you, but I think we did switch off very, very slightly. It was quick thinking. Martinelli again along the floor. And the thing that Roy was upset about was this block, wasn't it? And it was Partey on Gahey.
Lerma.
Was it Lerma? I thought it was Gahey. It doesn't matter which one it was then. But, they could see...
it was Schlupp. Sorry, it was Schlupp.
Well, that's three people. It's probably all three of them. But someone saw the run and they were blocked. And they were looking at that, Sky. They were the VAR, not Sky. VAR were looking at this because, and when they put the decision up, it was a weird choice of wording. It says something like, no attacking foul.
It's on the screen now.
Yeah, possible attacking foul.
Is that right? No attacking foul? Is that what they put up?
Checking penalty, possible attacking foul.
Oh yeah, I can see it there now. Yeah, but crazy. There's some confusion around us. What have they actually given now? Because we didn't know. And then obviously steps up. Put the penalty away really smartly. I was a bit miffed because I had Saka in my fantasy team. Could have done with the points, but never mind. And then the next big talking point was the sending off. Now, Tommy Askew, the left back, he had taken a long time to take the throw in. Referee wasn't having it, cracking down on time wasting. Fair enough. Arsenal were very upset about that, by the way. But, all over the social media.
They're always upset.
Yeah, I know.
Can I just say, Ian, 23 seconds they had to take that throw on.
Absolutely. 23 seconds. Arteta, they put that to Arteta in the post-match interview, and he denied it. But you can't argue with that. You look back at it, he was holding the ball, he was messing about. So he got his booking. Now, if he's on a yellow card, I know it seemed soft when Ayew got away, but he's got his hand on his shoulder and he stopped Ayew's progress. Therefore, it's a yellow card in my book. And I thought the referee did the right thing for once. I really did.
If that was against your team, if that was the other way around, you'd be spitting feathers.
Yeah, it would be, but it was the right decision.
It wasn't even as much as that. Okay, he had his hand somewhere on his back. He wasn't pushing him. He wasn't dragging him back. I'm sorry, but But if that was one of our players getting that second yellow card, you'd be going mental. That was never a second yellow card. Joe,
it was. No, it was. It absolutely was. Listen, I need to just go back to the penalty. I'm really sorry. I go back 20 minutes or whatever. But so this is the thing. So the ball gets massively over it. Johnston does touch him. It's as simple as that. He's playing for it, but he does hit him, and it is a penalty, right? It's a soft penalty, but it is a penalty because he's never getting that ball, right, to score. But so it's a foul. But it's also, so this is the thing. So there's a foul on one of our players, and there's a foul on one of their players. The foul on our player doesn't get given. It's a foul. You can see that. Everyone knows it's a foul. But that doesn't get given. Their foul does. A foul that would never have led to a goal. This is where where if you're going to start messing about with rules and stuff like that, right? You could almost take a petulant view of the American game where they would slow it down for anything, right? And give an indirect free kick for that because it's never going to be a goal. But you've got to penalise somehow. But to penalise with the ultimate penalty, penalisation or whatever, it just makes no sense. But the thing is, they get a penalty, we don't get a free kick. Yet our foul was before that. So I just don't get it. The sycophancy. This, and by the way, that referee, if we haven't covered him already, was absolutely crap. And I'm not even going to put alleged in there. He can sue me, and I'll get that they can play his decisions out. He gave us almost nothing and gave them everything. Another thing as well, have you noticed that we don't really go after the referees and we don't go up as in unison, 4 or 5 players go with one of their players.
I'll tell you what, Joe. I'll tell you what.
Touched.
It's going to get, if you do that this season, you're going to get penalised for it.
Well, they didn't. They didn't last night. Arsenal didn't. Arsenal did not get penalised.
There's inconsistency then, isn't there?
Well, what about that? What about Partey? Partey wants a free kick.
I don't disagree with you. I thought we had a really bad game, the ref, and everyone, both sides are saying that. But the thing about the penalty that was given, and I know you talked about the foul before that on our player, but the penalty that wasn't given, the difference being is that referee makes a decision on the pitch and VAR doesn't overturn it because it's not a clear and obvious error. If the referee doesn't give that foul on the Arsenal player that Sam Johnson brings him down, it's probably not a penalty. VAR aren't going to overturn that in the same way as if he's given the Eze one, VAR doesn't overturn that either. And that's the difference. So you've got to blame the referee on the pitch for being inconsistent with those decisions in a penalty area.
So if we're going, So if we're going, he's been inconsistently rubbish, right? But also so biased that he's given them almost everything and given us nothing. And there was challenges there that we didn't win it. Our players never touched their players, yet they went down screaming. But that Havertz is a fraud. Seriously, he is a cheating fraud. Why can't if they're going down screaming, why can't they just get taken off the pitch? Because you're hurt because you want a card or you're just acting. So if we penalise you 30 seconds, not just add it on. Don't add it on. Take the player out of the game.
Sorry, honestly, you can't have it both ways. You've just been moaning about the change of rules and the inconsistency of the new rule changes. Now you're advocating them changing the rules.
No. Listen, if they want to cheat and it's blatant, because you can see it, they'll show a replay for it. They'll show a replay for someone that's followed through and accidentally hit someone, and then they won't really show, because they'll show the replay. Well, we're looking at the producer and they'll go, well, don't show that one. That looks the Arsenal player in a really bad light. But if they do show it, the once they showed it last night, our player never touched their player. And that Havertz went down like he'd been shot. Was it Ayew who he got a yellow card? He literally never touched him. It was scandalous. And that's when VAR should go, look, because they bottled it, VAR. If it's a yellow, we can't do nothing about it. But just go, look, he never touched him. He was in the yellow.
Can I just make a couple of points? Just on, so if that had been down the other end, I think, what was I going to say? I think the penalty, our penalty would have been given if it had been down the other end, at Arsenal's end.
Yeah.
Now, what I was going to say about the referee made a decision on the penalty, and it turned out that it was a penalty, but you're right, there was a foul before that. But he made the decision to give the penalty. Now, VAR are going to look at that, and they'll only overturn it, like Ian said, if it's clear and obvious, right? But another reason they won't overturn it is because the ref will be made to have he'd made a mistake, right? So they're not gonna put him in the limelight and go, "Oh, you're a bad referee because you got it completely wrong." Down the other end with us, he didn't give it. It was a penalty, I think. I think there was enough contact there to warrant a penalty.
Yes, so do I.
So do I.
He didn't give it. It goes to VAR. Now, VAR aren't going to overturn that because it's going to make the referee look stupid if he's got it wrong.
It's the same reason, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's why he didn't give it for us, and he did give it for Arsenal.
Okay,
There might be a cynical view, but that's how I see it working.
Okay, sorry. Let me just. So we can learn. We always turn around and say that we can learn from other sports, as in rugby. So cricket, you get a chance, go upstairs, and then the umpire. So the umpire gives not out, and the bowler goes, "That was definitely hitting." No, I'm not even there. Go like that upstairs, and then they go through a process, right? Yeah, the ball pitched in line. The ball his pad, no touch on it, out, and the umpire has to give it all that. Oh, I'm a mug. You are out. This don't make him look stupid. Everything's in real time. Everything is quick.
But it did get reviewed. You missed the point. The foul on Geehee in the box, or Schlapp, or whoever it was in the box, did get looked at. And they still came up with the fact that it wasn't fouled.
But what I'm saying is, what about, the Eze one? They can't just keep getting everything wrong in favour of one side. They can't just keep doing that because it then just looks like blatant cheating.
Well, he did try and even it up by the sending off. But,
Fergus,
you're right. You're spot on in what you're saying. I hadn't thought of this before. The fact that referees, if they make too many wrong decisions, get demoted, don't they? They're not allowed to referee in the Premier League for that next weekend, and they get demoted ultimately. Now, if it carried on like this, we wouldn't have any referees, because they all make the bad decisions. So VAR, 9 times out of 10, they're going to back the referee's decision on the pitch.
Yeah, and George in the comments has put that, but Ferg, they can overturn it because they can see it from all angles. The ref may have missed it, and I get that, but I think on those 2 occasions, he gave the penalty to Arsenal, hoping that was the right decision and VAR wouldn't overturn it and make him look a fool. But down the other end, where he should have given the penalty to us, he didn't. And VAR didn't overturn it because they didn't want him to for him to look incompetent.
Ian, do you want to finish off on the game?
Yeah, we're sort of done almost. But, the thing is, when you're in the ground, you've got no idea, have you? We didn't know whether it was a penalty or not. But you go with what you're hearing, and you look back later on, and my phone was pinging away, and people were saying it was a pen, it wasn't a pen, and all the rest of it. But it's disappointing that Eze's one was not given when Nikita, whatever his name is, his one was given. I still can't say it, can I?
Oh, Nikita, you never know.
Few things towards the end of the game, guys. Mitchell, he crossed the ball in for Edouard. He had a header. He needs to hit the target. He skimmed off the top of his head. But, a better striker gets his head on that. And he should have done much, much better. The header was well wide. And I've already touched on this one. Right at the end, the ball was pinging about. We actually got the ball in the box eventually. Part of the reason was Rak-Sakyi came on. We touched on this at the beginning. He came on the 83rd minute for Joel Ward. So a bold move by Roy Hodgson, in as much as, we take off a defender, bring on an attacker. We're 1-0 down. We're chasing the game. It's the right thing to do, in my opinion. Before that, Amada had come on for Schlupp on 74 minutes. But, we were spending far too long, I thought, to the build-up. How many times did Anderson and Gay pass it across the back to each other when Arsenal would park in that proverbial bus? Several times. And we needed to move the ball quicker into the box there to give ourselves a fighting chance of getting that equaliser. And it was that last moment when the ball's pinging about. It was like a bit of a pinball, and Mitchell ends up blasting over, and it was a good chance. It was gone. It was missed, and we end up losing the game 1-0. Fergus.
Yeah, no. All I was going to say was I thought if I got one criticism on the substitutions, I think Rak-Sakyi should have come on with a Hamada. He should have come on earlier on. Bringing him on with sort of 6-7 minutes to go, it's not really long enough. I know we had 7 minutes of injury time, but if he'd have come on in the 74th minute, I think Hamada come on, then he would have had, he'd have been able to get into the game then. Because I always feel like people like Rak-Sakyi come on with 10 minutes to go, and the whole crowd are expecting him to work miracles. There's a lot of pressure on the guy. Yeah. It's probably not fair.
Yeah, and he was interviewed. I watched his interview. As a young boy, and he said there was a real intensity to the game, and of course it takes time, doesn't it, to get up to speed, even though you try and prepare yourself mentally for that moment.
Before we do the stats, boys, which Nigel's going to put up for me in a minute, Joe, I'll ask you, make your point, because the three of you, I've got a left field question coming up for you. Brace yourself, gentlemen. Joe, make your point, mate.
So from the 50th, I've never seen this happen before with Arsenal. I can't say I've seen every game they play, but I've watched a fair few games of theirs. But from the 59th minute, they parked the bus, and at the end, they had 4 defensive midfielders and either 4. It was at least 4 centre backs. Even Alan Smith said that. At 4 centre backs and defensive midfielders, they literally parked the bus from the 60th minute. I mean, I've never seen that. I mean, they literally they just sat back, and I don't think it was a case of sit back and soak up and try and hit us on the break, because that really sort of never works. But I can't help but think that had we had just 1 or 2 more of our attacking players.
Well, that's it. We're still a couple of players light, aren't we? We know that.
Ifs and buts. I know, but I mean, they were there for the taking, and it's a shame. That header that you're talking about, Ian, was actually a little bit behind him.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, still needs to do better.
Some stats, please, and boys. Random question coming up. So there you go. Match stats for you. Arsenal 54% possession. Shots equal 14 each. Shots on target. It's saying 2 there, but on my figures, it's saying that we got 1 on target. Okay, but on there it says 2. Arsenal 3. Corners 8-1. So they dominated the corners, and fouls. So we gave them a bit of a kicking, really. Right, gentlemen. Before I do Loan Watch, which I'm going to do in a minute, I have a question for you. He was in the stadium last night, but randomly. He's unattached still. He's got no club. Maybe he's training with the club. We don't know. Andros Townsend on a short-term contract, yes or no?
Not for me.
And the reason?
I just don't think he's good enough anymore. He's been gone a long time, hasn't he? I might be wide of the mark there, but I don't think he fits the model we've got at the minute. Younger players coming through, reducing the average age of the squad. I wouldn't go back there myself.
Thank you. Now, Ferg?
Probably a no for me as well. I think he's TV presenting now, isn't he? Is he gone into retirement?
Yeah, Clinton Morris as well.
I mean,
he's TV presenting because he's unattached with the club.
No, probably not. I mean, when you say short-term contract, what's that? Till January, and pay
an Elise replacement, or backup to IU or something like that. That's all I'm thinking about.
No, I'd rather keep Rak-Sakyi, to be honest with you. Someone said in the chat earlier, let's hope he doesn't go out on loan. And I think with Michael Elise still being injured, by the way, was it last week or the week before that it was announced that he was not going to Chelsea? I can't remember now. Was it only last week or the week before?
Yeah, last week.
Last week.
For me, it's Rak-Sakyi. He needs to go. I mean, if we're going, because he was in the ground, Alan Pardew's younger than our current manager, Ben Hodgson, and he was sitting the other side of of Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate's an ex-player, and I'd rather have him sitting at the back than. Yeah, no, not for me, mate. I'm afraid. We can't keep going backwards.
Look at the comments in the chat, and that's pretty unanimous. They all agree with you, but I'm still glad I asked the question. Lone Watch, okay. Killian Phillips played 90 minutes for Wickham in their goalless draw at home to Burton. Owen Goodman played full 90 minutes for Colchester, but let in 3 goals as they lost 3-2 at home to Milton Keynes Dons. Kofi Balmer, again, was not part of the Port Vale squad. Luke Plange only played 26 minutes for Carlisle, who lost 2-0 to home to Exeter City. And Scott Banks played the last 26 minutes for St Pauli in a 0-0 draw with a team that I can't pronounce and don't intend to. Go.
Can I just make a general comment about some of those stats you've just read out? We've got we talk up the like of Killian Phillips and Scott Banks and who's the other one at Carlisle. We talk them up. We say great young players, but they can't even get 90 minutes with these lower league clubs.
Luke Plange,
yeah, it's ridiculous. If these lads were really good enough, they would be surely playing 90 minutes every week, ripping it up. But they're not. Raksaki was the exception last year for League One Charlton. He was their player of the year. And now look at him, he's knocking on the door.
Let's close the academy then and use the money on another player.
No, let's not do that. But
I'm being facetious here. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
Right, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't got Palace TV Plus, God, it's good value for money at 50 quid.
You get paid, but it's just paid promotion.
Hold on. I'll clarify by saying I watched the under-21s game the other day in Premier League 2 Division 1, where Palace were at home to Man United, and we beat Man United 3-2. It was really good, and it's well worth it. Worth the money on its own. On Sunday the 20th, the under-21s lost to Reading 2-0 at the Bearwood Park training ground. The 18s were winning 1-0 at Cobham training ground. I watched this live as well, but they ran out 2-1 losses against Chelsea. The under-21s Premier League 2 this week is against Crystal Palace versus Fulham under-21s on Monday the 28th of August at 1 o'clock at Selhurst Park. So get yourselves down to Selhurst. It's very rare that the kids are actually available on Selhurst Park and for us to watch. So I might even consider that one myself. The under-18s play on Saturday the 26th at 11 o'clock at the training ground. That's against Reading. And the ladies are back. Yeah, I know you're out there, Michael. Michael, good evening, mate. I know you're there. And I know you'll be flying those flags loud and proud at Palace at the Sutton, Gander Green Lane, but they don't call it that now, do they? They are back. Crystal Palace women versus Reading women on Sunday the 27th of August at 2 o'clock at the VBS Community Stadium, which to you and I believe is still the Gander Green Lane in Sutton. So we will be across all the women's fixtures this year and following the girls, and Michael will be liaising with us every week, no doubt, and telling me on Twitter exactly how they got on. So good luck to the girls. Good luck to the girls. Right, boys, it's already 10 to 9. I want to talk about more transfers. Brentford away this week. Then we've got Plymouth in the Cup, as you know. Home to Wolves on Sunday, the whatever that says. That's my anniversary, guys. Oh my God, 29 years I've been married, 39 years together on that day. I bet. What do I do? Bear in mind, I missed yesterday's game. Away at Villa, as you can see, that'll be a good game.
She'll want you to go to football.
She'll probably will want you to go to football. Palace at home to Fulham, and then we've got a big game away at Man United on the 30th of September, 3 o'clock. As you know, you're right, Joe, because you know it better than I do. Right, so boys, we've already done quite a lot on transfers. You're saying that you don't go on, Ferg.
I was going to say Inacho, Leicester.
Yes, you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It's going to be like that.
All night.
Mate,
It's going to be sponsored by Kleenex.
All week.
I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot get this comedy anywhere else, only on the Red and Blue. You won't get this on 5-year plan. They're too staid. They're too conservative. You won't get this on Back of the Nest because nobody listens to them anyway. But there you go. It's a bit of fun. I'm only having a bit of fun. Right, so we were talking about transfers, and I think we're going to have. I think how many days we've got left? 9 days left, is it, of the transfer window? I think by the time we do our show, which I believe is next Sunday, off the top of my head, yeah, it is next Sunday. I reckon we'll have 2 more in, and I reckon in the closing stages we'll have another 2 by then. Ian, you made the point early on that you don't think the goalkeeper is that important in the grand scheme of things. What is, please?
The striker position, isn't it? You know, we've got to give Edouard some competition, some serious competition up top. Another fullback. Ideally, someone that could cover both sides, you know, because I think Tyrick Mitchell is an okay left back, but he needs some competition. You know, we have got Wardy and Kleiny on the right, but both of them are aging. You know, I think midfield's fine as well. I think wide left maybe. You know, we've lost Wilf, and you know, I'm not sure Sloop's the answer. I'm pretty sure he's not. You know, we know Michael Olise's coming back now. Thank goodness for that. You know, what a great bit of business that was to keep him at the club. But, you know, we do need players in other positions. And goalkeeper for me isn't necessarily one of them. But up top is really where it's needed, I think.
Well, Francis to come in as well, isn't it?
Of course, of course. Yeah, I forget about him already, you know.
And that's a bit of an interesting... Actually, Joe, I'm glad you raised that, because that's an interesting one, because they're giving him Wilf's old shirt, number 11, okay? And the reality is they're giving him a squad number, and he's only a kid, don't forget, so he actually doesn't need a squad number. He can play as one of our younger kids anyway. So they're giving him number 11, but they've never seen him kick a ball in anger.
We paid 19 million quid or whatever, it's 20 million euros for him. We're not just giving him. He's going to, when he's fit, he's going to play. That's we can't. We aren't the kind of team that can start paying 18, 19 million pounds for a player and then not play him. Jesus, as soon as he's fit, mate, he is in. That has to be the way.
He could go out on loan at Grimsby, I suppose, couldn't he?
And not play.
I mean, you think about the sort of money we paid for him. You know, we paid that for Guy, Anderson. You know, it was in that ballpark, wasn't it? Sort of between 10 to 20 million. So I fully expect him to pay. I don't think we would spend 20 million on a player that's going to sit in the reserve side.
I think the evolution for the left and right hand side has to be. What? How do you pronounce it? Is it França?
França, yeah.
Okay, so França out on the left, Olise out on the right, and then Rak-Sakyi and Hamada. I mean, they're our wide players. We've basically sorted out. People keep saying we need more wingers. We don't need more wingers because we've still got Jordan Ayew. And so we've got 5 wide players to cover that can cover both sides. I mean, so I think that our main thing is the goalkeeper, left back, and forward. So for me, I think we just need 3. I'd like to see 2 centre forwards come in, to be honest with you, because otherwise, once if we get Iheanacho comes in, and he'll just go, and everyone will just go, yeah, well, we don't want anyone else to play, and that he needs competition. Not the other way round. He will need competition. Otherwise, he's going to go, well, I'm the best striker at the club. Can't really matter whether I score or not. You know, we need 2. I think we need 2. So not massively worried. I don't know what's going on with Alex McCarthy. I'd like to see McCarthy come in, to be honest with you. That'll put the Dean Ensign.
Don't go back. You just said don't go back.
Well, we were interested in him. We were interested in him. So I'm not talking about that. If it's serious interest, I'm talking about going back for a 35-year-old, not for someone that's going to take the place of a kid who's just plying his trade and just broken into the first team. Can't have Andros Townsend kicking Rak-Sakyi out of the team. Jesus, that'd be like you might as well get me a game goal. I block a third of it. Just stand there.
I think a left back and a striker. Yeah, left back and a striker. We're obviously looking at a left back because we were looking at Lewis Hall, weren't we? But the minute Newcastle showed up, his mum and dad are from Newcastle. He was a Newcastle supporter as a kid. He was always going to go there. Striker Iheanacho, he's played 200 plus games, 56 goals, 34 assists. You know, we should be that's the sort of play we should be going for. Akpom, I was gutted. We missed out on him. He ended up going to Ajax for Middlesbrough. He scored 28 goals last season, I think.
Can I just take issue with something you just said there? Iheanacho's stats again?
He's 56 goals, 34 assists.
In how many games?
200 plus games.
Well, all for Leicester.
Well, he was at Man City as well, wasn't he? He scored against us, didn't he?
Well, of course.
He scored his first goal against us. So,
I forgot that.
You know,
I don't know if
his
he's an
last
upgrade
year
on-
of his contract.
Is he an upgrade on Edward? Is he that?
I think he is, but only just. You know, there's not much in it. I don't think. You know, let's say he played for a relegated side last year. You know, you got to take all of them with a pinch of salt. You know, if you got relegated for a reason. You know.
Keith Diamond just said Iheanacho would fit in well with how we play. And you know what? That's probably what the downside of Edouard, because Edouard doesn't make space and make goals for himself. You can tell he's a finisher because he got on the end of Ayew's cross last week. That's where he's good. Okay, where he's not so good is running at a player, running at a centre half, okay, taking him on and then getting the shot away. That's not his game. And sadly, the way we play, that's what we need. Is Iheanacho a player? Say again, mate.
He did that last year against Leeds.
Did he?
Is that an awkward silence?
Yeah, because I don't remember it. You may be right.
Well, we beat Leeds 5-1.
Yeah, I know that. There's so many goals.
Cutting edge. Tom Samuel said Emmanuel Dennis at Forest. We've been linked with him, haven't we, as well? Of course.
But wasn't he absolutely rubbish at Watford? Was that the guy?
He was. Yeah.
Terrible attitude when he was at Watford.
Everyone's rubbish when they go to Watford.
Yeah, Jill, you can't see the chat, Jill. Dawn Palace, Jill, has just come up with your favourite of all time. The one you've mentioned a million times, who you'd love to have in your team. Callum Wilson.
I said, me and Danny Sopley turned around. So when he played for Bournemouth, that we should have gone in for him 2 years before he left Bournemouth. He's an absolute natural goal scorer. I can see him coming back south with Newcastle, unless he just wants to be part of a team that will probably eventually get into the Champions League. But I don't know whether he'll win anything.
He's going to play Champions League football this season, isn't he, Callum Wilson?
Yeah, of course so. Yeah.
He's made of glass, though, isn't he?
Yeah, true.
He's always injured.
Okay, boys. Well, so the next show is, I believe, next Sunday, where we will be reviewing the Bees trip over to whatever is the community stadium in Brentford. And I will be back. I believe Ian won't be joining us this week. Ferg, you joining us next Sunday?
No, I'm in Ireland next week.
That's not the right answer then, is it? And of course, Jill will be with me. My wingman will be with me. We know that. So, any other business? It's going to be a bloody lonely show if you're not here as well. Okay, any other business?
If you're short, Nick, and I'm not drunk, then possibly. But...
Do it from Ireland. Why not? Yeah.
No, come on, when you're drunk, it'll be brilliant.
At number one, I'm not short. I'm 6'2" and built like a brick shit house. Okay, and the chances of you not being drunk are pretty remote. Okay. Any other business? Anything? Give me a positive, Ian, before we sign off.
Positive is that we have got some talent waiting to come through in that young Franceur. So I'm looking forward to that. So ultimately, we're going to be fine this season, aren't we? You know, we're not going to go down. We're probably not going to get into Europe. It's going to be another one of those years of consolidation. But I'll take that all day, actually. I'm happy with that.
Mark Callahan saying a drunk red and blue review will be outstanding. Jill, give me a positive.
Michael at least say staying there on his way back.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
the huge positive, right?
Do you know what? It's the biggest signing of the summer, that is. Ferg, a positive from you.
I think we played really well against a team who are going to be punching for Premier League title. So, yeah, I mean, I just think with the players coming back, I mean, don't forget we got Hughes coming back as well, another good player.
Yeah.
We've got some really good players coming back.
I'm actually going to go with Dawn. Dawn has just said, I'll give you a positive. Lerma. On that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, to the team, the Red and Blue Review crew, Nigel in the background, Lucy, we send you our love. Everybody else, please stay safe. Have a great week. We'll see you next Sunday live at 8 o'clock. On behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, good night, and good night from the team. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Cheers.